Hello, everybody, and welcome back to VirtualCon 2014 for the MasterMind event. And I have here on the stage with me Brian Shuster.
Hello.
And Aaron Burch, our senior.
Hey, guys.
So, the format of this event is just a chance for us to speak with you, the sponsors, exhibitors, some of our high-level business people here in Utherverse, give you a chance to ask us questions, have a discussion, talk about the present and the future of where we're going with everything. So I guess, and at any time, feel free to post questions in general chat or PM them to me if they're important. You don't want to get them lost. But I'm going to hand it over to Brian. This is going to be, just sort of a bit of a discussion and a little bit more of an informal presentation than what we've been having so far.
Great. Well, thanks, Anna. I don't have any remarks prepared. Hope some of you got a chance to hear my welcome address yesterday. I think we've got a really exciting future mapped out, and sort of running into the end of the last cycle, the last business cycle, and the beginning of the next business cycle that I feel is really going to be exciting and full of opportunity for all of us. I hope everybody's having a great convention. It really seems like we've been privy to a lot of great presentations and speakers this year, so that's really been super encouraging. And want to answer any questions you've got. How's the trade show floor been for everybody?
They're just waiting for them to type. And then it'll all just shoot up.
Which is great. And of course, on the panel with us this year, as usual, is Aaron, who is our Chief Technical Officer.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I'm just sort of listening alongside here. Brian's right hand if he's got any technical questions.
Great.
Just getting some comments. Very busy.
Maybe still.
Oh, is that what it turned out to be?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like there's some people have lost sound here, so let me just restart this here really quick. One sec.
Okay.
All right, how is that for everybody?
Great. And so that is the key to making billions of dollars in the next 30 days.
Restarting everything. There's a question here from...
No, just while the sound was out, I made sure to tell everybody the secret.
There is a question here, Brian, in the general Joker Empire. Being a long-time and quite active affiliate of Utherverse, will there be any changes to the existing affiliate program system moving forward to Curio, or will that be unchanged or mostly unchanged?
Right now there are no plans to change it from the way that it is supposed to be operating. But what that means currently is when we open really the affiliate program you're talking about for Red Light Center, because we don't really have much or we don't have any affiliate program designed specifically for Curio or Virtual World Web or the Alpha platform. But for RLC, for the new RLC, the immediate way that the affiliate program is going to work is actually leveraging the existing affiliate program 100%. So you will continue to send traffic to the old Red Light Center, and users will create an account in the existing legacy platform, and they will then have, as VIP members, have access to both platforms, and you'll be compensated for that upgrade. We have not really figured out the specific implementation for the new RLC, though it's unlikely that the affiliate program is going to change much, other than, optimistically, the new RLC is so much better for end users that I'm expecting conversion rates and retention rates are going to be much, much higher. So you should be able to send more traffic more easily. We should have new creatives in there, and you should be able to maintain those members and convert them much better. So I'm really optimistic about it, particularly after we've had such spectacular success with our motion capture, including full-on adult motion capture, and having that level of animations and so much of it that's going into the new red light center, that I envision users being entertained for a very, very long time at a level which is way beyond the entertainment levels that they've got now.
Actually, let's talk about the mocap for a little bit while we're waiting for some more questions to come in, Brian. And for those of you who wanted to see some of the mocap footage, I do have it on my Instagram, VWWAnnaLee, if you want to check it out. But yeah, let's talk about that session, Brian. It was really fun when we went and did that.
Well, Joker is commenting about Samantha, and of course she posted a really bang-up video, and she did great. We obviously motion captured a lot of stuff. She was one of the performers. The lap dancing, I mean, sex was great. the mocap sex was great, but the lap dancing, Anna, that really, really blew me away. The moves that this performer was able to come up with.
Yeah, we had a professional dancer, actually. She wasn't, she was an actress and a professional dancer who wasn't actually trained in erotic dance or stripping, and coached her through it, and she ended up just doing an amazing job at the lap dance, and all of it actually, more so than we anticipated. So it was a really cool day. We actually went to the studio where they filmed all the Twilight movies and the Planet of the Apes series. So that was kind of neat. I'm actually looking right now for the Samantha Mack video.
I actually posted it somewhere on the forums, link over there.
Okay, right on. Joker Empire question following the he wants to know if the mocap sex, was it real sex with penetration? Did you cut holes in the suits, or was it simulated? Inquiring minds. You got to answer this one.
Oh boy.
And maybe explain to him about our going back and forth about it.
Yeah, well, we've certainly had had some discussions, and look, we've there was some stuff that was done with suits. There was some stuff that was done without suits, with just markers that were stuck on the body, because having a suit would have, let's say, interfered with our ability to motion capture. We're doing simulated stuff. We've got some. Let's see. Do I want to name any names? Well, since they haven't done this yet, I'm not going to say. But we have some very high-end adult film stars.
You can name one of them.
Well, Tara Patrick.
Yeah, you can name her. Yes.
So that's going to be more. Now that we've figured out how we can do it without the suits and without destroying the suits, we're going to do more of the live action, let's say. But all of it needs to be rehand touched up. So we're unable to motion capture the facial data, because in order to do facial data, they need to wear a really intrusive mask. So we've been capturing the facial data on film, but the reason you haven't seen the sex animations, including a lot of expression, we have a lot of it done by now, of course, but previously didn't have a whole lot of expression on the face. And then the private parts all need to be. We weren't able to figure out how to get markers on those, so those had to be retouched. But I gotta say, you're gonna be super impressed.
Yeah, definitely. I do have another question here. Actually, I'm just gonna push them at you so that we can make sure we get as much in as possible. Sure. Regarding business ownership, specifically joint ownership, will this be included in the new RLC and/or Curio?
Well, Curio is the browser, of course, and the Virtual World Web is the platform that the browser will be used to surf in 3D. You will also be using the browser to surf the existing flat web. Really, any kind of business model that you can imagine is going to be supported on the new platform. It's much more, let's say, it's designed to be much less top-down. In other words, much less us deciding on what business models can exist, and you guys working within that framework, as opposed to the new platform, which is really bottom-up. You can figure out how you want these things to work, and they will apply to the system. The Virtual World Web and Curio are not so much. It's not as much of a fixed system as you're used to. But having said that, of course, the initial launch with RLC, the new RLC, that's not going to include all of the features, which obviously are going to come out over the course of the next couple of years. So the new RLC is going to start out being much more rigid and much more what you're used to. It's not even launching out as a full with a full feature set. It's designed to launch out more with experiences and fun things to do on a limited platform, and then every couple of weeks we're going to be adding additional scripts and additional features and additional content until we reach the current state, which I imagine is going to happen fairly rapidly over the course of months, not years. And then it'll start to expand out with Curio, Virtual World Web, and all kinds of additional flexibility. So hopefully somewhere in there answered your question. And addressing just the quick one from Girl to be Tickled, yeah, there's going to be a lot more facial. The avatar is capable of being much more expressive, just from the head down to her toes. So every part that you can imagine can be expressed, can be altered, and can be animated. So it's a lot more interesting. Yeah, they looked a little bored. That's because we didn't do any facial stuff for the first video. We were saving that for later.
So maybe let's take a moment here just to talk a little bit about what we can expect with the upcoming launch of RLC 2.0.
So I think one of the most exciting things for me is the Gentleman's Club. We've got really just such a compelling amount and quality of content in the form of pole dancing and striptease and lap dancing, and really so realistic. You will almost be tricked into believing that you're watching video. That may be taking a little bit far, but it's really compelling. I think that we're going to see much more opportunity for working girls and strippers to do a lot better financially, because they're going to be able to engage with many more and nicer moves and routines, and of course they'll be able to take that to the next level if they want to go to the bordello or a private room and engage in full-on sex. We're looking at having all kinds of neat and engaging scripting. So things like you can achieve achievements and unlock capabilities and abilities, which is really fun. So things like, you may not be able to engage in certain moves until you've learned them, and you can learn them from somebody else who knows them, and you can progress along an achievement line and chain. So that also adds stuff to do and adds sort of gamified elements. There are different roles that users are going to be able to perform. So, for example, to get up on stage, you'll want to queue up in a performance role, and you'll be called up on the stage when your turn comes to do the dance. You can queue up to be the DJ. I don't think the DJ queue is going to work for the initial release, but shortly thereafter. You can queue up to be the bartender, and we don't quite have this done, and it won't be done for launch, but flair bartending and potentially earning tips, but at least earning the respect and flirtiness of patrons behind the bar. So sort of a fully featured nightclub, gentleman's club experience, and the bordello has been upgraded considerably.
So a question from Lady Star here. So Utherverse as is will remain, and then there will be a second platform for RLC?
Yes, I guess if I understand the question correctly, that's exactly right. Utherverse in its entirety will remain as is, including Red Light Center, and then the new Red Light Center will exist. You will get to that through the Curio browser, and that is going to remain in effect for at least the next year. Over that course of time, we're going to watch how the community responds. We're going to see how much content ends up getting built in, and how much content ends up getting moved over, and whether there is still a need to continue the existing platform, or whether essentially everything is moved over onto the new platform. That's something that we can't really determine in advance. So we're going to see how things respond and make those decisions. But for the next year, one membership will get you access to everything.
Joker Empire wants to know, and I think this is a question for Aaron, what is the current state of the client, thin or thick client, and moving forward, will more of the computing be done on the server infrastructure to allow for a thin client, or a mix of sharing the load between client and server?
Sure. Hi, Joker. So I think I can answer that a little.
Hold on one sec, Aaron. Let me just, everyone just to refresh really quickly, and I'm just going to refresh this really fast too, because it looks like we're having some sound issues again. So just one sec, hold tight, and then we'll just, 1 second here. Okay, we should be okay. I've refreshed the system as well on my end, so anyone who's lost sound, just simply refresh as well. And I think we should have everybody back.
All right, hi everyone.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, sure. So the state of the client is kind of a big, but mostly right now we're in a hardcore content development mode. So you'll see RLC when you join us for the beta. You'll see Red Light Center improving hand over fist every couple of days, probably, as we push new content to it. Hope that answers your question a bit.
Yeah, so for the beginning of that answer that, Joker, you may have missed is it's a very thin client. We really have moved most of the work onto, or essentially all of the work just about onto the server. It's a credit to what Aaron and his team have accomplished, that we've only, as he said, recently turned our attention to actually building a world, which is Red Light Center, and yet very rapidly, because the tools and the platform and the architecture have made it so relatively easy that we're able to make such rapid advances that we can now we can plan to be opening within a month.
Great. As we're waiting for some more questions coming in, I just want to sort of turn this conversation back onto sort of the future of technology for a minute. We were all at a Unite just last week, and we had Caitlin from Unity this morning do our keynote, and we've had a lot of VR talk. So I don't know if you want to touch base, Brian and Aaron, about what we can expect in terms of integration with the new client, what we're looking at in terms of upcoming technological advances.
Well, well, of course, I'm really excited about what we've got coming up. I think one of the really enjoyable, fun things that you guys are going to get to play with is going to be, and I hope we're going to have the ability to get you some of this hardware here over the course of the next, I don't know, the next few months or a year. I suggest getting on the list for an Oculus Rift developers kit, and as soon as we actually integrate this Leap Motion, I'd want you to get that too. It's a little $85 camera that can attach to your Oculus. A really very minority report where you can see the world in virtual reality, and with this Leap Motion camera, you can get your hands into the scene as well. And once we've got that integrated, it's not integrated into Curio yet, but once we have that integrated into Curio, you're going to be able to literally use your hands in front of, like, as if you're grabbing objects and manipulate them around. So you'll be able to prop edit by grabbing things out of a menu and dropping them where you want them to drop in a much more natural state. So that's the kind of stuff that I think we've got coming up over the course of the next couple of years from the hardware side that is going to drive a huge amount of interest in virtual worlds and virtual reality. And you know what I'm excited about mostly, is to be honest and fair, is the amount of the number of new users that are going to enter the platform. That's where I think the big opportunity is for everybody. I mean, I know you've all been patient for quite a while, and we've seen the numbers faltering a little bit here over the summer slowdown. Although we're seriously in the process of ramping up new advertising and new traffic buys now that we're about to hit September and everybody's coming back from vacation. So I expect we're going to see a turnaround in the numbers here once those new ads start to roll. And of course, a big campaign of marketing once the new RLC preview is open. But over the course of the next few months after that, with all of the improvements and us moving into full-scale marketing and production, I'm expecting to see the numbers really skyrocket. I'm expecting to see hardware start to drive those numbers, and this technology that allows you to have a lot of fun operating your businesses, and also start to get a lot of fresh customers in for you, I think is going to be is where I'm expecting this to happen. And let's see. I think we had some business questions up here.
We had a question from Lady Star asking, what are designers able to do over in beta right now?
Yeah. So, what is the current state of what designers are able to do? I mean, I know that the way that this is intending to work is you're going to be able to upload meshes, and you'll be able to do design work on the meshes. So it's going to add a lot of additional flexibility. I don't think that art pipeline is open yet, though, right?
Sure, yeah. So we're, in the long run, there's going to be two kinds of clothing designer, right? There's going to be the mesh designer, which is somebody who knows how to do modeling work. That'll be a little more difficult to get involved in just because it's more complicated. But for now, what we're doing is we're uploading meshes. So I think Brian, we've given away some development kits to people to help them build clothing, which our art team is taking and processing just to make sure that it's a reasonable quality and stuff, and also obviously low enough poly that it doesn't blow away the engine and so on. And we're entering those into the system manually so that they're available for the second kind of clothing designer that's a texture artist. And that's pretty similar to the way you guys work now, where you're building skins for a model. the workflow is supposed to be that basically a modeler puts a model up for sale, and a texture artist comes along and bases a piece of clothing off of that model, and both people get to set their price. And the final product that gets listed in the mall for a customer to buy is the combined price of those two things. So both people make a cut when something gets sold in the mall. That's all working with the exception of uploading models right now. We're doing that by hand here. So you choose something that you want to base your piece of clothing around and you texture that. So that stuff is working, and buying those in the mall is working, and previewing them on your character is working, and all of that. Our scene editing tools were in pretty good shape, but we've set them aside for a little bit because we're doing a bit of an overhaul on some UI. So you'll probably see those tools show up in mid-late September again with a nice new face on them. Yeah, so scene editing is massively improved. Probably right after September, we'll be working hard on a whole bunch of stuff for decorators. Kind of like we've improved the system for clothing designers, there's a big system coming for decorators too. That's not there just yet, but it's not far off.
And I love the model that we've got for decorators, Aaron.
Yeah, I think that stuff will be a lot of fun for people. I mean, we're trying to give you guys a way to mock up rooms so that people can come and have a look at them with all the props and things in there that you want to sell with the place. And kind of similar to the way two people get together to make a piece of clothing, two people get together to make a propped out property for sale. Somebody decorates the property, somebody creates the property, and somebody creates the things in it, and they all go together and somebody buys that. So it's kind of a collaboration between three different types of artists, somebody that works on a scene, somebody that works on props that go in an object mall, and somebody that does decoration work. All that comes together to make something a person can buy. The idea is that they don't necessarily have to buy everything. They can buy just the property or just the things in it or all of the above or whatever. So we're working on ways to make that smooth and easy to understand for the end user too, not just for the people that are working on it. But those tools are kind of in development, so we'll see them probably in a few months.
Yeah, and just to add on to that a little bit, those three areas, obviously they could all be the same person, or they could be 15 different people. The decorator could go to the object mall and they could find objects from a variety of modelers, and they could put those objects in. And when if a buyer grabs the entire scene, they are each person who did modeling, who set their price, gets that amount out of the purchase price. The decorator obviously sets a price. The scene designer gets a price, and these can be these all also have capabilities of being limited. So you could have a scene that has just an original painting in it, let's say, or an original sculpture, and it's a one of a kind. So the first person to buy it, they grab it, and then any other times that the scene is sold, it gets sold without that prop in it.
Yeah, I should have been a little bit more specific about that too. It's important to understand that in the new platform, objects are a more formal thing, kind of like in many MMOs that you're used to. When you have something, it's in your inventory, or it's in a scene, or it exists somewhere. In the legacy system, when you propped out a place, you more or less just painted with a brush of chairs, right? So like you've laid down 10 chairs in this room, but they aren't real things. They're just part of the appearance of the room. Whereas in the new system, objects are a little bit more formal. But this presents a problem for people that want to do decoration, because you have to go to the object mall and buy all of the things that go into a room, and that's not reasonable for you to pre-purchase all the objects that go in a room, especially if some of them are quite expensive. So the idea there is to make it so that a decorator is a special kind of job where you get to lay out a room for free, so that the objects that go in it don't cost you anything, but they're sort of like a big ad for those objects. So when a person buys the room, they buy all of the things you placed in it, right? That room obviously can't be used and the scripts don't run in it and things like that while you're working with it. So you can take it and show it to a client, but it won't operate properly until it's sold. So it's crippled in a way, right? I mean, you can bring somebody there to look at it, but it won't operate like a true running instance until it's been properly purchased and paid for.
Yes. Again, lots of different opportunities for lots of different in lots of different areas around the deco space and around the design space, and it goes to, you know, I'll just say as an aside, the reason why it's been complicated for me directly to answer issues about how the deco or design communities would be protected against people ripping off work, because the platform really handles everything differently. Objects have ownership, and they're not available to be just linked up to or stolen in a way that that the legacy client is open to. So it's a whole different kind of security systems that are in place here that should make these kind of issues hopefully essentially obsolete, and it's going to be a whole different environment for us to manage that. So.
I can answer Girl 2's first question there too, that decorating will be available to everyone, both in your Zabbies and also in properties that you purchase when you build out your own world, if you want to do that. Anyone can decorate something. What I'm describing is a way for a decorator to
run a business.
To run a business, to mock up a space for somebody without having to pay for all the things, so that someone can, you know, imagine the space or see it created and then decide to purchase those things, right? Yeah. Including the decorator's time. If you want to go and decorate your own space, you can go through the mall and preview objects and purchase one and put it in your place and decorate it however you like. You don't need a decorator to do that, but if you hire a decorator, just like in real life, you know, a decorator will do a nicer job.
Yeah.
But
I have no artistic ability. I need you decorators to lay my place out. Otherwise, I just have a big old empty room with a bed.
And what he's referring to specifically, just to reiterate and make sure everyone's really clear on that, is the business model for those who want to make decorating a business.
Right.
And sell what they can do.
Sure, anyone can decorate a room, but a decorator's a decorator.
And potentially to go into collaboration, and this is a way to build larger scale businesses that involve many parties who can each promote each other, and you know, it's really designed to be business friendly and conducive for earning revenue on both the deco front and the design front. But yes, important, I think, to highlight that these things are also things which you can do individually, you can do for yourself for fun, and I expect that you're going to have a lot of fun with these. It's a whole new, more complete way of being able to do these things as a hobby, for sure, or as a business.
So Brian, I just want to get to Sapphire's and Girl 2's question, then I want to sort of circle back to Joker Empire, who had a question from earlier, and then we'll go back to Lady Star there, just to let you guys know that this is the order we're going to do things. Right. So Sapphire wants to know, will doing layout still be available, and Girl 2 wants to know about fees on becoming a business decorator.
The first one I can sort of answer.
Yeah.
Layouts, depending on what you mean by will layouts be available. So yes, you'll be able to save a layout of a scene and restore it, sort of like clones or layouts in the legacy system. But the objects in your room have to be, how do I put this, owned by the room. So when you place something in the room has the object. you can lay out the room any way you like with the objects that the room has. So you can think of it like having a big closet full of stuff, and you can take some of the stuff out and put it in the room, or different stuff out and put it in the room, but you can only decorate the room with things that the room has. So you can save those layouts, and you can restore them. So you can take a club and decorate it for Christmas, or decorate it for Halloween, or whatever, and you can have all those things and put them away. But layouts aren't just a stamp of appearance that you can just transfer to another person. A layout is just an arrangement of objects that you own. So you can't just transfer a layout, quote unquote, to another person, because that's real objects that you've purchased, right? Or that you have ownership of somehow. So that's what I'm sort of describing when I talk about the decorator system, is a way of creating showrooms so that you can show off the way a room's been laid out, right? But then when the person wants that, if they're like, I love the way that looks, that's fantastic, and they purchase it, they're paying a little bit for your time in doing that work, and they're also buying the objects in the room from the people who make them.
Is that clear for everybody?
Well, I can actually clarify it a little bit further.
Awesome.
So, Sapphire, yes, you will be able to create a layout the way that you're thinking about it, and you will be able to sell it over and over. But that layout will require that it has props in it, the objects that are in it, which have ownership rights that allow you to do that.
Yeah,
so
they would have to be purchasable things, basically, so that somebody could buy them with your layout.
Right. So because objects have ownership in this new system, it prevents, it prevents, let's say, the layout from being just
copied, basically.
Yeah, right.
It's the copying of the layout that doesn't work, because the objects themselves have to be, the person who takes the copy, who buys it or whatever, needs to have those objects too. So interestingly, you could transfer an entire property to another owner, of course, including all of the things in it.
Right.
You could also, and this is what the decorator system is ultimately for, is you could make a copy of a layout and all of its things, but only if all of those things are purchased by the new owner.
Right. So in practice, there will be many objects in the object mall which are available to do exactly what you want to do.
I can't imagine why somebody would not want to make their object available that way. Or let's say most people should, right? Because it allows their objects to be sold by you as a decorator.
Yeah, but there will also be cases where people are going to want to know that they're buying something that nobody else can have, and in that case you'll be able to do custom layouts for them with objects in it that, are right.
Can't be resold to anybody else.
It's designed to be more dynamic. I believe that it will work exactly the way it has worked in the past for a lot of stuff where users are going to put objects up in the mall, and we will have objects in the mall which will be, low cost and available in perpetuity for sale, so you can, certainly deco with those objects, and those props, and do, what you've done historically, but also opening other opportunities to create more custom, more high-end, and other business opportunities and partnerships and whatnot.
I'm just going to interject, really answer Lady Star's latest question very fast, and then I want to move back to Joker Empire, because I want to make sure we get all these questions. And Lady Star, who asked that last question,
yeah.
You don't need to own everything. As we said before, you're utilizing, if you're running a business, you're going to be able to utilize those objects in your showroom. And when it's sold, then the person buying it will need to buy all of it. So hopefully that was clear.
And the way that they're going to buy it is going to happen all seamlessly behind the scenes.
Yes.
That's priced into the, there'll be a one price, and that will include the objects that you've decided, or the props that you've decided to prop with, and that the system is designed just to give everybody their cut. So if you're propping with props that, are 10 particles each, so maybe, 5 rays for 50 props, or 50 rays for 500 props that will just go out to prop designers. And
a good way to think of it might almost be like going to something like an IKEA showroom, where you walk through the big store and you look at all the different layouts of living rooms and kitchens and things like that, and you're like, hey, I really like this one. And you take it home, right, and you buy a copy of it. You purchase all the things in it, or as many of them as you liked, right? You don't necessarily have to purchase all of it, but when you're purchasing it, you're purchasing the work of the person who laid it out and also the things in it.
And just to let you know, Sapphire, I see your questions. I saw that you asked that one twice. So will any props be free? Yes, some props may be free. Will we be able to change textures on objects? Yes, and some if the permissions allow it. So I'm just going to move back really quick to Joker Empire here. I'm just trying to get in as much as possible. His question, as a pre-question to the next, will the Curio platform be open to all ages, meaning 13 plus? If no, ignore. If yes, how have you solved the exposure to bad words, chat predators, etc.? Have you implemented some kind of live monitoring that ties in, so on and so forth? So are we allowing 13 plus, and if so, we can delve into this question a little bit more.
Sure. Well, it's important to distinguish, of course, use of the Curio browser versus access to the worlds on the virtual world web. Accessing Red Light Center is 18 plus. Accessing the new Red Light Center is also 18 plus. But use of the Curio browser is 13 or over. And we have essentially solved this problem in the same way as every other provider that is 13 plus. So Facebook, for example, we are restricting content that we provide, and otherwise it's challenging to answer that without going into the entire structure of the virtual world web. But in brief, we will be giving licenses to service providers. The service providers will be operating the virtual worlds, and users will use Curio to browse those virtual worlds. So virtual worlds provided by service providers may be 18 plus, or they may be 13 plus, depending on the content that they're providing and depending on the components that they have installed, and the way that they're going to deal with protecting minors, beyond that is really largely going to be up to the service provider, in the same way it's largely up to a service provider of websites to deal with protecting minors. So that's going to need to be dealt with based on the geography of the service provider, the local and national legalities for the service provider. Really what we're providing here is a software package and platform, and not content. Other than, as I say, the content that we provide, and for that we're dealing with it with the standard policies and procedures that websites and other kids' virtual worlds, for example, have put in place.
Great. Hopefully, Joker, that answers your question, and if you have anything further, just post it. Going back to Lady Star's question from before, so she wants to know, if she purchases a mesh for a skirt, then textures it, and then sells it as a skirt outfit, the mesh person will always get a kickback on the price tag. So the cost of my skirt will always be twice the price, theirs and mine, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and this also applies for objects as well, correct?
Right.
There you go. So actually that answers quite a few questions that went down the line. Once again, going back to Sapphire, if
Sure.
permissions on the prop or the object allow you to...
Again, I want to put a little bit of clarification on all of that.
Okay.
We are going to see prices evolve in the marketplace such that they are, as markets will do, that they're optimized. So what I anticipate happening is a mesh designer is going to create a mesh, and and there's going to be competition from many, many mesh designers to get you as a designer to design using their meshes. So some of that competition is going to mean that some of these meshes are just spectacularly well done, and their name brand from the designer, and everybody wants to be wearing a mesh from that designer, and so they will command a higher price. And some of these meshes are going to be done where they're looking to get volume sales. They're going to want to get you as a designer to design on that mesh so that you can just sell as many as you can, and they're going to price that lower. So overall, the final sales price of these new clothing objects or possessions and whatnot are going to be a blend of these two things, but the blend will not, or of these two or more things, but the blend won't necessarily be, it result in doubling of the price of an outfit. The price of an outfit may be relatively the same, and a volume mesh designer may earn their money because they're selling thousands of meshes a day at one ray each, or they're selling tens of meshes a day at 100 rays each. And so we'll see. You'll have a lot of opportunity and a lot of choice. At least I'm anticipating, if this works the way normal free markets work. So you're going to have a lot of flexibility to select. Some meshes undoubtedly will be given away free or essentially free. So I wouldn't be too concerned about losing market or having these things escalate in price. It's just going to mean more work, more better selection for you to choose from, and better work. So hopefully a larger market, larger volumes, and better revenue for everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Unicorn makes a fine point there, but it's kind of true. If you make both the mesh and the texture, then you'll save some money, as in you can offer a lower price, theoretically, except that if you're making both, you could also make more money off it, right, off the object.
All right, so a question from Safra I'm finally getting to. She wants to know what programs are suggested by us, by the art dev team, for making objects, making landscaping, so on and so forth.
Geez, that's actually not the best question for me to answer. That stuff should all be documented, I think, in our development kit for clothing designers. I know they put some how-to stuff in there, made some suggestions on the programs they recommend, and all of that.
Definitely Unity would be one.
Well, yeah. Although you're probably not going to be using Unity for content creation. Mm-hmm. Although it has to be compatible with Unity at very least.
Yeah, Studio Max would do it. Maya would do it.
I know our guys use a mix of mostly Maya and 3D Studio Max. So if you can push out a FTX, we can import it.
Yeah, basically.
Great. Joker Empire, going back to him, for chat security, which happens through the client itself, if you want to play it safe, take a look at this and get in touch with... it wasn't a question. It was actually letting him... Sorry, I was just reading it out. All right. 3D Max, someone's asking?
Yep, that was...
Okay.
That one is fine.
Great. So we just have a couple minutes left. I know we kind of got into a lot of stuff, so let's get a couple more questions here. Brian and Aaron, do you have anything else that you wanted to add in terms of what we were just talking about?
No, I think I'm all right.
Yeah. I'm sure that there are other programs which are less expensive that would be just fine. Probably starting a thread up on the boards, if there isn't one already, will probably get you some good answers for inexpensive or free or student versions of software.
Definitely. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions in the audience? Just give people a little bit of time to digest what they've just learned.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was quite a lot. Now, here we go. Okay, last question from Joker Empire. How nervous are you about the party in Curio tonight? Will it hold up and perform?
I was scrambling a few minutes before this MasterMind session to find out the answer to that same question.
Well, since our code is 100% bug-free, I'm not worried at all.
I will say this. Still Curio Alpha is not the new RLC, and so it has not been updated to all of the latest code. Although we've tried to make it so that it's going to run for this party. The new RLC has more fixes in it. But I'm anticipating that things are going to run decently in Curio Alpha, and it's going to be fun. So you should try it out, and we're going to try to get you guys access to the new RLC as soon as we're really feeling good about it. So just keep that in mind. There's no getting naked in Curio Alpha, so how good can it really be?
Any last questions, anybody? Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
Yikes indeed. Just give them a couple more minutes. Any last questions? Like IMVU.
More advertising, animated. I think that the advertising is actually going to allow for you to.
Oh, mall advertising.
Right?
Yeah, will mall advertising allow for animated GIFs?
Probably not.
But it should have the actual object, right? I mean, I don't think it's mall like as in a website mall. It's mall as in you'll access it with Curio.
You're talking about like clothing mall and object mall.
Yeah.
They want to know if like you are advertising a poster move.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand that. Not too sure I understand that. I don't know, maybe if you can get a little bit more clarification on that, but there is a question that came up about membership prices.
Right. Same. Not intending to change anything at this point for the new RLC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about Curio Flash content, yes or no?
No. Period. Full stop.
Okay. Now here's some clarification on Lady Star's question. Well, in IMVU, you can sell walks of avatars and show them in advertising.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it. Right now, user animations are not going to be viewable or uploadable. You just won't be able to do them. But soon you will, at a bare minimum, to be able to put them on bots and that type of thing for show in the showrooms. And eventually, of course, users will be able to pick them up.
Let me just circle back for 1 second on the Joker's question.
And there's also a follow-up to HTML5 support, but just throwing that
so
back.
that's what I kind of wanted to throw out there is we're not supporting Flash because Flash is a dying technology. Nobody's supporting Flash these days in a new product, okay? Yes, you can run Flash on some mobile devices and so on, but we target the Unity platform because we want to eventually make this a portable platform. We want to be able to run on tablets and phones and PC and Mac and so on. And not all of those devices support Flash. So we have to keep ourselves not tied to technologies that won't port well. We support a really good browser implementation that has full HTML5 support. We have a whole JavaScript-based UI that's served by the server that's really flexible and will scale with us as we grow here. And it replaces and improves on the old Flash panel support by leaps and bounds. People used Flash in the legacy system a lot because it was one of the only ways to make anything dynamic happen in the world or in the UI. But I hope we're providing enough other ways to provide interactive functionality that we don't need to rely on Flash. There's a long answer.
A little bit of a longer answer. So we're running out of time here. Okay. There's this one last question that just popped up here.
Yeah.
To answer that question there, though, too, that doesn't prevent tube sites, really. I mean, most modern tube sites aren't using Flash anyway. They're using HTML5 video, which is totally supported.
Yeah. I mean, I think that by and large, It's going to be a very easy modification for for most businesses that rely on Flash technology to be able to make this same thing and even better happen in HTML5. And as unfortunate as it is that there's a lot of stuff that has been done in Flash, I suspect that the ingenuity of the community is going to be able to overcome this very quickly, and it's going to be a one-time sort of bit of work that's going to result in a much, much, much better solution where really the ability to go cross-platform, the ability to go mobile, the ability to go into consoles. This is, ultimately a decision that it's just there is only one real direction that it can go.
Okay. So we're running short on time. I just kind of want to go around the table, starting with Aaron. Anything that you want to mention that we can look forward to coming out of your side there, or in your opinion, it's really exciting?
Well, everyone's going to want to check out the Oculus support when that gets going. That will blow your mind. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to just getting this thing launched, to be honest. It's going to be cool to have some feedback and have all you guys start creating things in the new world. I mean, we've been building platform for a few years. I'm looking forward to having some company. Really.
I'll go, and then we'll end off with you, Brian. For me, the exciting things that we've been working on is the mobile side. We just had a great meeting in Seattle last week and are putting together some really exciting mobile apps that should be coming out very soon. Some really fun stuff, some very exciting stuff that we previewed and went over really well. So that is very exciting to me that we're sort of moving into that space. And all the new tech that we've been privy to demonstrating and being able to incorporate that in what we have. As well, having our next convention going to be on Curio. That's extremely exciting to me that we're going to be able to hold the new conventions on Curio, right, Aaron?
Yeah. This time I think I can say yes to that.
Right on. All right, Brian, the floor is yours to end off. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to horseback riding on the beach, feeding my cats in World, lap dances with mirrors behind them.
Yes.
The important thing to keep in mind when we do launch the new Red Light Center in September, and it's going to be towards the end of the month, that it's not intended to be a full feature release. It is intended to be a good, polished release of some of the features, some of the really important features. It's going to showcase really beautiful avatars and beautiful animations, and it's going to be an opportunity to all of you to get in and to start developing your content and your businesses for the real large-scale public release that is that's happening later in the year. And then the last thing that I want to say is I'm really looking forward to January.
Yes.
And we are going to be in Las Vegas with with an enormous trade show booth at the AVN.
AE, the Adult Entertainment Expo, actually.
Oh, excuse me.
That's what it's called.
It is now called AEE.
Yes.
And we're going to invite all of our VIPs, any of our VIPs who want to come in. We're going to have Oculus Rifts there, and we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff for you to play with. There's going to be great giveaways. At least we're expecting there to be spectacular giveaways. So if you can make it to Vegas, if you happen to be in Vegas for the Adult Entertainment Expo, that's going to be a neat spot for you to come. Check out our booth, check out what we've got, and check out the Oculus Rift. And so I would look forward to seeing any of you there.
Yeah, just to jump on that, to give a little bit more information, it's at the end of January. I think it's January 21st, 25th. You can get tickets. It is available. I think you just have to Google Adult Entertainment Expo. We're going to have a huge presence. We're going to have our spokesmodel, Tara Patrick, there with us. So it's going to be quite the event. And VIPs will get special front-of-the-line treatment for all of it. So if you're currently a VIP member, you just need to come by, let us know who you are, and you get to go to the front of the line, which is kind of neat. So Brian, anything last? Any last things that you want to say?
Well, no, just thanks everybody for having really great panel, great questions. It's a pleasure to be able to interact with everybody and to give you real good, solid information about what's going on here. So appreciate it, and Anna, wonderful job.
Great, thank you guys. Thank you, Aaron. We'll let you get back to work because I know you got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And thanks very much, Brian. So everybody, just to let you know, right up next we have in the studio hall, we've got Craig Gilbert doing his Total Cinema 360 presentation right now. Afterwards, we got the Fly Girls dance team in the sponsors hall stage. There was a really great performance last night, so I'm looking forward to tonight. And finally, of course, we do have our Curio party, so make sure you get over there. If you need to download the software and get all in there, go for it. The actual location has been changed to the Curio Zabi lobby, so it's no longer the Rocky Valley area, so make sure that you get over there. And if you need any more information, go to our website, virtualworldconvention.com. And thanks everybody for being here with us.
Thanks everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.